In this week's episode of One Piece, the Silvermine arc comes to a close as Luffy does battle with the ore-eating smelt man, Bill. Spoiler alert, Bill gets his ass handed to him in this week's episode. Big shock, right? In all fairness, the Silvermine arc was honestly pretty decent. Nothing groundbreaking, mind you. There was really nothing all that special about the arc, aside from the fact that it does tie into the brand new One Piece film Gold, which is going to be coming out next Saturday in Japan. That's really cool because if you want to see the actual continuation of this story, you just gotta go to your local Japanese movie theater. I live in America, so I'm screwed. Despite the fact the Silvermine arc on its own really isn't all that bad. It's a pleasant distraction, and if you just want to see Luffy wailing on some villains, well, this is the episode for you. What I think is most surprising in this episode is that Bill went through 2 transformation sequences, where in the first half of the episode, Luffy just curb stomps him, like just completely destroys him, punches him like once in the head, and he just plows into the bottom of the Silvermine, where he's confronted by Mr. Tanaka, and that's when he starts to shove all of this ore into his mouth to power himself up, and then he just appears all super buff, almost looking like Jesus Burgess the way his body is, constantly steaming with hot ore around him, constantly melting. He can even weaponize that, literally shooting it as if it were a Logia-type power, which honestly is pretty cool, but Bartolomeo was there to use his barrier. In fact, Bartolomeo uses this one move with his barrier where he transforms it into a hand to push all of the ore right into Bill, which causes him to go through another big transformation where he turns completely silver, which honestly looks awesome, and I really hope that they would have done a little bit more with this form, maybe make him a little more formidable going up against Luffy, but nah. Luffy just completely destroys him with a grizzly magnum, sending him flying into the Silvermine ores, which causes all of it to just melt and destroy, saving Desire, Bartolomeo, and all of the people who were taken over by Bill. The episode ends with a small teaser with Mr. Tanaka returning to Grand Tesoro, the location of One Piece film Gold, where we're formally introduced to the main villain of that film, Tesoro himself, who basically is just telling the audience, hey bitches, come see my movie. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? Man, it's such a bummer that Bill was kind of a bitch. I had some high hopes for this episode, hoping maybe they would go out on a big high note, but basically it was just Luffy doing what Luffy does best, which is making people look like fools. And Bill is one hell of a fool. Such a stupid stock villain. But honestly, I thought his forms looked pretty cool. The first one was just ridiculous. When I saw it for the first time, I just couldn't help but laugh, especially his ridiculous expression. But then there's that silver form that he took at the end where he had like yellow eyes and he started to activate this big attack like a freaking Dragon Ball character. That moment was really cool, and I wish he would have done that earlier on in the episode. Maybe seen some cool choreography moments between Bill and Luffy. But Luffy's just such a more experienced fighter, especially against someone like this, and the fact that he can use Haki also gives him a big advantage. He's able to take out all of his goons and everything. The rest of the episode is basically padded out with moments from Desire, basically just showing us how pissed off she is at the fact that Bill used her and her crew, and pretty much every single person who works underneath him, but she doesn't really get to do too much in this episode. But I have to say it was interesting to see a side character who had an affiliation with Bartolomeo. Anything involving Bartolomeo to me is a lot of fun, and he was really great in this episode as well. We're going to get a little bit more of his antics in the next couple of episodes as we move forward into the Zou arc, but unfortunately Bartolomeo is not going to stick around, which is definitely kind of a bummer. So that's why I was really sort of soaking in all of his wackiness in this episode right here. Overall, though, the battle between Luffy and Bill was okay. It certainly had some satisfying moments, mostly the Grizzly Magnum against the whole Silver Bill, and of course the fact that this is building a lot of hype for the brand new One Piece film, which honestly I think looks freaking-tastic. The animation, the fight scenes, the designs of the characters, and the brand new costumes they're wearing, and just the villains themselves, like Mr. Tanaka and Tesoro, seem like they're going to be really cool and very enduring. This could very well be another awesome One Piece film. I think the One Piece movies do a really great job. Just, they're fantastic. So, that's my thoughts on this week's episode right here. Basically a hype for the movie, but it came with a pretty cool battle with Luffy going up against Bill. I'm going to give this one right here a 3 out of 5. Really nothing all that crazy. Despite that, it was a good, fun, action-packed, average episode of One Piece, which you should definitely watch at least once if you're a fan of the One Piece anime franchise, or if you want to get hyped for the brand new One Piece film, Gold. That's right. So there's my thoughts on this week's episode, but before you guys leave, make sure to tell me what you thought about this week's episode of One Piece in the comment section below. What did you think of the battle between Luffy and Bill? Did you like it? Were you disappointed by it? Are you really hyped to see the brand new One Piece film? What do you want to see from that movie and the rest of the One Piece anime and beyond? Please tell me in the comment section. You stuck around this long, you might as well subscribe to the channel. Make sure to share this video with all your friends. Leave me a comment and make sure to smash that like button. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.